What's going on here?
Every vote that's cast for Kamala Harris or for Donald Trump is an endorsement of genocide.
Holy shit! She remembered to say that Donald Trump is bad too. She often forgets to do that. One might say her entire campaign is forgotten the entire time she's been running. Okay.
It is an affirmation of genocide.
Lay out for me the steps whereby I go into a voting booth, vote green, and the genocide stops.
Let me put
I don't see that happening.
Clearly. We are creating a very organized coalition that is here for the long haul.
That's right. They were Democrats that were sending cops to campuses to beat up kids on my campus, okay? Coming in riot gear to remove people from encampments.
Yeah. When people were dying en masse from COVID, when he was praising Nazis, doing domestic terrorism, as Butch says, did you ever at any point say, maybe I got that one wrong?
Oh, no.
You said in November 2015, as Assad and Putin were massacring Syrians in their tens of thousands, quote, the US should be working with Syria, Russia, and Iran to restore all of Syria to control by the government. That's
again, she's a Russian dude. She's literally like she's a very blatant plant. Yeah, the pro-Syrian, pro-Assad stuff is a really dead giveaway because there is no way on earth, literally no way, anyone involved in politics would be pro-Assadist unless they were like a contrarian Twitter leftist or directly paid by the Russian government. And in many cases, it's the Venn diagram has an overlap.
That was an unapproved statement, which was taken down the moment it was.
You seem to have a lot of things online that you don't approve. Would you tell your supporters at home, vote green everywhere, but in those 3 swing states, vote against a domestic terrorist?
I would say...
This is like a very limited cut. Wait, this is 147. Maybe this has a bit more. Oh, okay, it's in the same thread.
We looked at your social media, and you haven't done that many posts specifically calling out Russian attacks on civilian areas. You haven't called Vladimir Putin a war criminal, but you have called Benjamin Netanyahu a war criminal.
No, actually we did. Yeah. In my very first remarks about the Ukraine war, we condemned...
Vladimir Putin's a war criminal in your view.
Yes, we did
and Bashar al-Assad's a war criminal.
Yes, in so many words. Yes, we have said as much.
Many words?
So
you called Netanyahu one, which I think he is.
Oh, absolutely.
Is Putin a war criminal?
So what we said about Putin was that his invasion of Ukraine...
Notice how quickly she jumped to saying, oh, absolutely, when Netanyahu, a woman she actually thinks is a war criminal, is called a war criminal. But when it comes to Putin, she's like, well, let me qualify this language.
Is a criminal. It's a criminal and murderous war.
And he's a war criminal who should be on trial.
Well, by implication.
You're struggling here to say something very simple. This is why people have their doubts about you in Russia.
Netanyahu is shorter than me. All people shorter than me are women. Keep up. I'm wearing a denim jacket right now. I can pull this card.
Well,
why is Benjamin Netanyahu a war criminal but not Vladimir Putin?
Well, as John F. Kennedy said, we must not be afraid to, we must not negotiate out of fear, and we must not fear to negotiate. So if you want to be an effective world leader, you don't start by name-calling.
She just called Netanyahu a war criminal. What? I can't call Putin a war criminal because that would be like, you know, just because a person's bad doesn't mean you should start name calling. Oh, Netanyahu? Yeah, totally a war criminal. Yeah.
And hurling
So how will President Stein negotiate with Israel then if you've called Netanyahu a war criminal?
Thank you. Oh, man. Okay, I just want to say, he is the one guy, literally the single human that I know of, where if I am watching him talk to somebody else and I pause and I say, this is what I would say, he then says it. Like basically every time, you know? He's on his shit, man.
Criminal.
Well, because he very clearly is a war
so Putin
criminal.
Clearly isn't a war criminal.
Well, we don't have a decision, put it this way, by the International Criminal Court.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. You idiot. You hey, how many like voting members of of Congress are there? You moron.
For his arrest?
Actually, you're wrong. There's an arrest warrant for Putin. There isn't yet an arrest warrant for Netanyahu. So why is Putin not a war criminal, but Netanyahu is?
Yeah.
I think they both are.
Let me say this. We are sponsoring that war.
Again, like they're calling it the most obvious Russian plant in American history. They're calling it the most transparent psyop. It's insane. I think that Green voters are rivaled by RFK Jr. voters in IQ.
We are sponsoring
That's our
Netanyahu.
war.
He is our dog in this fight. That is why we have a responsibility.
No disagreement
to
from me
pull
at
him
all.
back.
But that
With
does
Russia,
not answer
it's-
my question.
With Russia, it's
Whether we
far more
sponsor them or not
complicated.
is irrelevant. Either you're a war criminal or you're not. Is
Actually,
Vladimir Putin a war
hold on.
criminal?
In so many words, yes, he is.
I don't know what so many words are. Butch, is Vladimir Putin a war criminal?
Let me say that whatever you think he is, if you want to pull
It's not
him
about what I
back,
think.
Oh my God, dude. She's seeing the check floating in the air in front of her, you know? She's seeing it vanish.
I'm asking what you
well,
think. You're running for president.
if you
I'm
are
not.
a world leader, you don't begin your conversation by calling someone a war criminal unless
So why
you
have you called
a
Biden
clear,
and Netanyahu war criminals?
because we have a clear strategy and we
Doesn't
have
make
a
any sense to
very
me.
strong
Butch,
support
is
across the
Bashar
world
al-Assad and Vladimir
community.
Putin war criminals in your view?
Bashar al-Assad, they'll never call Assad a war criminal. No chance at all. Man, these are like crack cocaine to me. I'm never making fun of drug addicts in Appalachia again. My small town of lefty debate streamers out in Appalachia when the Mehdi Hassan epidemic hits.
Fair enough.
I was not
But
going
there's
to.
also-
We're all like collapsed over a wooden barrel in front of the general store, you know?
Hold on. Let me pose a question.
Please
I'm going to
do,
bring
yeah,
you in because I've got a question for both of you that's relevant.
Why do they love Assad? Because Assad is an agent of the Russian state. That's it. Assad is like an ally and agent of the Russian state, much the same way that Lukashenko in Belarus is, you know?
To this, which is there is also an experience issue to address here. Obvious
Oh, yes.
experience
Yes.
issue. When Trump
Did you see the Jill Stein Putin photo? Yeah. It's a pretty commonly circulated, which again, like, you really have to wonder what the you have to do. This is after the sanctions. This is 2015. This is after the annexation of Crimea. For Jill Stein to be at a table with some of the most powerful people in, I mean, right across the table from Putin. Like, this is not, under no circumstances would you ever need to be here. And of course, Michael Flynn, but we all know the deal with him. You know, there have been cases on this. She coped on the Breakfast Club about this photo, saying it was so loud she could only talk to the person next to her and hardly noticed Putin was there. Me when I'm across the table from the world leader of a former superpower, holder of the most nuclear weapons on the planet, and a person recently widely sanctioned by the United States government. I mean, I guess he was there. Like, we said hi once. I could hardly say we like Vladimir who? It says it's a photo from 2015. Yeah, 2015. Right after the annexation of Crimea and the sanctions. Must have been the wind. Those sanctions, okay? Yeah.
ran for president, a lot
Yeah.
of people, myself included, said he did not have the experience.
Yes.
A reality TV star, a dodgy New York property developer, had no business being anywhere near the Oval Office. And he proved it in office. He was completely incompetent, reckless, put aside the
Oh, yes.
ideology.
Oh, yes.
He wasn't just not qualified, he had no history of public service. You, Jill Stein, have only served in one elected role, I believe, on Lexington Town Council, which you won with 539 votes. Butch Ware, I think you mentioned already, you've not run for office before, you've not held any office before. So what makes the two of you qualified to run the world's most powerful country, the world's biggest economy, most advanced military?
Yeah, so let me just jump in.
It's crazy. This is actually one of those questions where Trump has an easier answer. Trump spent his entire life like managing wealth, managing his businesses, being on TV, being a public figure. Trump actually has better answers to this. He could at the very least say he's familiar with the stresses of public attention, of managing many people beneath him. Jill Stein doesn't have any of that. She's a nobody. She exists to pop up every 4 years and like make money grifting and pulling votes from the Democrats. That's it.
I served for 5 years on Lexington Town Meeting. But beyond that, I served in leadership positions enacting campaign finance reform and public financing in the state of Massachusetts, where we passed that as a referendum, had to build a strong coalition, had to, do all the public policy things in order to do that. I helped lead the effort to clean up our coal plants and to push for renewable energy in Massachusetts.
Which are great efforts, but not qualifications to be commander-in-chief of the world's most powerful country.
Oh, that is true. Also, you're a woman. Mehdi Hassan coming out with the most scathing accusation thus far.
We looked at your social media, and you haven't done that many posts specifically calling out Russian attacks on civilian areas.
Oh, this is ripped from the episode. This isn't posted by Mehdi Hassan. Oh my God, I want to watch it so badly, but I also don't want to like steal content. The Gaza clip, Mehdi brought up her meeting with Putin here. She changed the story and why she didn't confront Putin at the dinner. Oh man, I want to watch this so badly, but I don't want to. Okay, just a little taste, a little. Okay.
On the RT channel, my remarks. See that
You called out the
statement.
Russian
Excuse me.
Let her finish.
Yes, I actually did call that out. And
Go ahead.
yes, it is a Clinton hit job. And that video was.
Russian propagandists in America hate Clinton. Hold on. First of all, hating Clinton is based. Want to make that clear. But they hate Clinton specifically because she was very correct about everything regarding Russia. You have to give her credit for this one single thing and basically nothing else. She was on every issue that relates to Russian interference and influence in the United States. She was dead on the money every time. Tulsi Gabbard, Jill Stein, like the 2016 election, she was completely correct on all of that. She's been vindicated. It's factually correct. Still a horrible woman, you know. But Hillary Clinton's problem was never that she was stupid. She's not. It's that she's evil and soulless.
You know, was a posting on social media. The actual purpose of that visit was to address a conference of media from around the world.
It was a Russia Today conference, which is a propaganda channel for Putin. I mean,
well,
it was some neutral
yes,
conference.
in the same way that the BBC is a propaganda channel for
It's
the
not the same.
UK.
It's not the same way.
Yes.
It's not the same way.
We all
MSNBC is a propaganda channel for Team Blue.
That's true, man. Russia Today is propaganda for the Kremlin, just like MSNBC is propaganda. That's so true, man. That's so true. Anything to engage in apologia for the Putin regime.
Yes, but aren't the American people entitled to decide, you know, what propaganda they're going to
I'm
listen
not saying
to?
you shouldn't. I'm not
yes,
saying you should be banned from that. I'm just wondering why you went.
When our corporate media will not cover us, yes, then we do have to embrace whatever media we
And
can
you didn't
get.
feel you should criticize Putin while he was
Actually,
there?
I did.
To his face?
She did.
Yes,
What did you say to him?
So he was not at that conference, but he heard it.
He was sitting 3 feet away.
That was not the conference.
I know,
that
but you were
was a
sitting at a
dinner afterwards.
So why not say something?
There were
even
no
a translator
translators.
at
There
that
was
table.
no
They-
Vladimir
introduction.
Putin speaks English.
He was there for 5
You really want anyone to believe? Did I still have it here? No, I didn't, because I'm stupid. You want any? I shouldn't watch any more of that, because again, like I'm probably going to pay to watch the whole thing because it looks fantastic. You really want to believe that Jill Stein got in on the same table as Vladimir Putin as a do-nothing Green Party candidate who has never won anything in her life outside of the Lexington City Council position. You know, Putin's a pretty low shot kind of guy. He's pretty relaxed. He's not been known to like constantly surround himself with powerful, influential people. You've got Michael Flynn right next to him, right? I mean, all these foreign dignitaries. Let's have Jill Stein there. You know, nothing to take from that, nothing to say from that. I'm genuinely astonished that he even let her next to him on account of it being bad optics for her in his effort to use her to pull votes from the Democrats, you know? But whatever. Michael Flynn doesn't speak English. That's true. I assume you mean doesn't speak Russian. I know there are people who gravitate towards the Green Party because they're very susceptible to the populist messaging and they don't think about whether or not it would actually work. And I do feel for those people. But it's like, you cannot allow yourself to be manipulated that easily, man. Like, you are the most easy to manipulate motherfucker in the world. This is the most obvious grift. And if you'll fall for anyone who just says anything, like, donate to my stream, you know? We're an independent media outlet that's channeling mainstream narratives, you know? The DNC wouldn't even let me go there. I didn't ask them to, but they probably wouldn't have let me if I asked. They let Hassan because he's sold out to the establishment, okay? Me, they wouldn't let me there because I'm so dangerous to the narrative, okay? If you give me enough money to buy a second Ironheart denim jacket, then maybe we'll be able to challenge these. I know I'm not running for office anywhere, but in fairness, I have the exact same chance of winning the presidential as Jill Stein in this election. So honestly, if you're willing to cast your shot anywhere, the DNC Gigalib Hassan, as we call him, oh yeah. Yeah, the Working Families Party is making an actual effort to build power from the ground up rather than just grifting every 4 years. For sure. Yeah, 100%. They've been making some strides lately in Philadelphia, and hopefully, you know, something gets built up from that. Also in New York. What makes Hillary Clinton evil? Please inform. That's a question with like a pretty big answer that would involve a lot of frothing at the mouth, spitting from me. You can probably go find some older videos of mine where I talk about it. Oh yeah, I did see this. This has been a known element. The Green Party is running someone, a very real candidate, by the way, with no picture up for their candidacy. Maybe she's invisible. Who's like anti-chemtrails. Chemicals hovering over my vehicle in Michigan. I'm still fighting to end the U.S. military chemical attacks. Okay, I think she means chemtrails. That's pretty good. Are you saying you're pro chemtrails? It really is. That's like a very easy IQ check, isn't it? That's one of the easier IQ checks, I would say. That one's really far up there. Like 9/11 conspiracism is objectively more rational than believing in chemtrails. What do they think are in the chemtrails? None of them can agree. A common feature of conspiracy theories is that they agree on something being off, but they never agree on what it actually is. It's like mind control formula. Like how flat earthers believe the earth is flat, but none of them can agree on a map. I mean, being flat earth is ultimately about white supremacy, which is ultimately about sexual insecurity. It all comes back to one thing. You're not going to find many people who believe in a flat earth or chemtrails who aren't also sexually insecure. It all comes back to that. Ain't it just plain exhaust? It's just water vapor. Are chemtrails real? No. At least not beyond the belief that water is a chemical. It might be like crystallized. Well, crystallized water is ice. I guess there could be ice in there. How is flat earth tied to white supremacy? Great question. The best video on this, if you have 2 hours to spare, and you do because you're watching me right now, is In Search of a Flat Earth by the excellent channel Folding Ideas. The gist of it essentially is that you barely hear about flat earth these days because they all became QAnoners. The reason for that is because the flat earth conspiracy theory was ultimately about Christian nationalism. It was about the belief that, cosmology as we understand it is incorrect. It's about like Christian domination of the world, the idea that humans are special. Why do you believe humans are special? Well, they're special under God. Why are you so insistent that God is real in the way you want him to be? Because it brings order to a world in which you feel like shiftless and insecure in your place in things, and it always comes back to white supremacy. Like always, 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 always. Or at the very least, it's concurrent. But ultimately, yeah, it's about fearful people. Conspiracy theorists tend to be very fearful people. That's not just conjecture. There have been studies. The brains, they have more active fear regions.